Gotta just make sure on Zach F1 that it is. Yep, we're ready. We're up and going. My God, what the hell is going on? This is ridiculous. Right. Oh, actually, I shouldn't have done that. Should not have done that yet because I need to get up the stream. Just so I can see any of the chats going on. Get that. Get my face off of it. Right, where's the chat? Hey, Morris. What's up? How you doing, man? Oh, my God. What an insane start to the weekend we've had, man. I honestly can't believe it. Right, let me get up everything that we need. Oh, right, yeah. Let me drag it all onto here. Oh, yeah, honestly, I don't even know if I'm going with Merc over Ferrari. Honestly, I might be taking the -10, which I've said so many times not to take the minus. Yeah, Morris, I feel like I don't know what to do, even myself. I've got to really lock in and think. Right, so here are the stats off the bat, okay? Ollie Behrman, he looked okay. At 14 million, he's all right. However, he still isn't probably going to beat both Mercs, both McLarens, both Astons. So if he gets in the top 10, I'll be happy. However, like Michael's just said, Merc don't look that good. So then you'd probably drop down to Aston. But then if I want Verstappen and Aston, I've got to take a -10. Now, here's the other thing I'm thinking of doing. So, yeah, it's the Limitless. You so need Limitless for later on in for the what's it called, sprint race weekends. That's the only issue. And wildcard, I just don't know about wildcard as well, because if we use wildcard now, we're busted for the rest of the season if anyone gets better, because that McLaren's going to get better in Europe apparently. That's when they're bringing the upgrades again this year. Do you think I should keep Red Bull, Ferrari, Constructors? So if you keep Red Bull and Ferrari Constructors, this is the team I'd go for. Oh my God, actually, I didn't even say this. If we keep them, what do we do about Zhou? Obviously, Zhou had a quite a big incident in FP3. Hopefully he got out okay. Oh, hey, Limaz. By the way, I think the latency should be much better on this stream. I've turned it down a lot more. But even Zhou, we don't really know what's going to happen with him. Is he going to be in qualifying? I mean, I'm going to have Kick Sauber's Twitter up the whole stream. So if any updates happen, because if not, then we realistically have to focus on getting rid of Zhou. And that's annoying because then maybe I can't bring in Stroll. But yeah, if we were still going for the Ferrari team at the minute, I would most likely at the minute be getting rid of Ricciardo, plus it's either Tsunoda or Albon. However, I don't trust Sargent here. Also, Sargent's just crashed. So I'll probably get rid of both RBs and bring in Stroll and where is he? And Magnussen. So that's what I would do if you're staying with the Ferrari boys. However, let's get into this. My team right now, Perez, Ocon, Gasly, Zhou, Tsunoda, Red Bull, Ferrari. Hey, yeah, that's one of the teams I was talking about. Very good. Yeah, I just wouldn't drop to Mercedes. If you want to change from Ferrari, you've either got to do this, where you bring in Aston and you just take it on the chin. And this is, by the way, this is another option that could happen. Hey, my guys. Thank you so much. Here's the other thing that could happen if you don't have enough money to get the Verstappen team and you could have to take a -10. Keep Perez, because it looks like he's going to be okay here. Definite podium. It's a bit of a risk. And then, this sounds crazy. I know it sounds crazy, but just hear me out. Hear me out on why we would bring in Behrman. So, there's going to be so much hype around him this weekend. I even said on Twitter, if he just comes top 8, potentially even top 10, he will get driver of the day. Now, other chips for each teams. Yeah, so the chips are used for each separate team. Oh, mate, Lime, has so much happened, man. Sargent had an incident, which is why I'm a little bit worried about him now again. Joe's had a massive incident. Don't know if he's actually going to be in qualifying. Behrman, obviously, taken out for... No, Sainz taken out for Behrman. But yeah, Behrman will most likely probably get driver of the day. And that's the thing. If he just gets top 10 with driver of the day, driver of the day doesn't affect Ferrari's constructor. That's the only issue. That's what's scaring me. However, if Behrman gets 20 points, Perez gets 30 odd points, that could be a team. Like I've been saying, to get to Verstappen, the issue is, because you don't want to go down to VCARB these days, Aston look really good around here, you would have to have Ricciardo probably down to Kevin Magnussen, and that's a -10. And it's just, if Verstappen wins, gets fastest lap, he'll get 45 points, and it will be worth taking that -10 to hit it, because if anyone had my team, then we'd still be ahead of everyone who had this team. It's so difficult to figure out right now what's happening. Driver of the day for Behrman. Yeah, Michael, you know how it's such a popularity contest. People are just going to vote him because he's driven in a race. Which is what's scaring me, because if you have Verstappen in your team, he's not going to get those 10 points this weekend, probably because someone like Behrman will get it no matter what he does. What do we do with RB Constructor? Are you talking about VCARB or Red Bull? VCARB, I would get rid of them ASAP for Aston, because Aston look like they're top 10 this weekend, and definitely want to be going for someone like that. Morris, which team were you talking about? The Aston team right here. I agree. Yeah, I know. That's the issue. If we have Zhou out as well, it's... Well, okay, hang on. So if we don't want to take the risk on Zhou, is there a way to bring in Aston Martin? No, there's not. Oh my god, this is a nightmare. Absolute nightmare, man. Driver of the day and potentially some overtakes if he doesn't perform well in qualifying. Yeah, that's why I think it could be like that differential team that goes crazy. Let me show it for anyone who's just joined in. This is the team we were talking about, which would be a bit mental if it happened. Which would be Aston with... Where's he gone? Behrman. And then, yeah, we could bring back in Ricciardo. So if I use my Limitless chip for my second team, still can use it later. Yeah. That's also a bit of an issue on F1 Fantasy. Second and third team don't really matter as much. Purely because your first team's the one that goes to all the prizes in the global leagues. Even if you're in my league. Oh my god, yes. Let me get my league for the stream. Before I get even more into this, because there's so much to talk about today. So let me just do this. Bim. And then that. There you are. For anyone who wants to join my league, we've got about 260 people, I think, at the minute in it. Yes. So what were you going to be doing for the weekend? I think I'm going to be doing this. Realistically, it would be Sonoda, Ferrari, down to Aston, and then bringing in Bear. What, Behrman, not Bear. I'm going to call him Bear from now on. Purely because, like I said, potential driver of the day points. If he qualifies badly for Ferrari, then he's going to get some overtake points, hopefully. I do have to mention something else while talking about these teams. This boy here, the no negative chip, is something to consider this weekend, considering we've already had quite a few dramas happening. It could lead to something else going on, and I think the race is going to be just as hectic as anything else. And then I need to get rid of VCARB. Yeah, bro. Most likely you got to go to the Astons then. Of course you can't have Zhou. Yeah, I know. It's just, it's, do I take the -5, keep Zhou in, or do you take the -10 and bring someone else in? I feel like taking the -5, doing the no negative, and hoping that Zhou gets a few points is what I'm thinking of at the minute. Behrman could still lose it. He went off the track. Yeah, that's why I'm thinking if you do go for Behrman or Zhou on your team, no negative it. 100%. I know I said not to use any chips now, but no negative looks like it's coming right into play for now. What about Norris? Aiden? What are you talking about? For anyone who doesn't know, I wouldn't be mean to anyone like that. That's my cousin. That's why. Okay, so help me out on my team right now. Verstappen, Stroll. Right, let's make this team and let's help you out. Verstappen, Stroll, Ricciardo, Albon, Zhou. Albon, where's Zhou? There he is. Albon, Zhou, Red Bull V-Carb. Right, okay, yeah. First off, get rid of V-Carb. So you're going to want to, most likely, get rid of Stroll. Bring in an Aston. Now, the issue you have is with this team, you're going to have to bring in Sargent. If you do this, you're going to also have to keep Zhou, because I would not recommend taking that -10, because it just, especially if you're jumping from Stroll to someone like Sargent, it's a net negative. But I would very much recommend using the no negative for this weekend if you had both Sargent and Zhou. That's the only issue with this team. I think taking Ocon on... Oh, god damn! Yeah, welcome everyone to the stream. I'm trying to get through all the comments, so hopefully... Can't join your league, says the code's invalid. What the hell? Okay, I'll sort that out in a second. Ocon and Gasly is good because they get a lot of overtake points. Yes, I agree. I spoke about this in my video, actually. It's not a bad shout to have a team that looks like this. It's not a bad shout. Of course, we now have the issues with Ferrari coming up. I don't feel Ferrari are a strong constructor to have at the minute, which is the only issue, because I would like Behrman as a driver just to see what he does, but if he does cock up and get only points for driver of the day, I'm also banking on him getting driver of the day, but if he just comes top 10, surely everyone loves a good like underdog story. If one transfer in Behrman today, do you get signs when signs is back? No, I believe not. Although, no, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't, because they're completely different. They're completely different points teams. So I believe you would have to change them out. But Behrman might be in for next weekend, because no, the next race is in 2 weeks. So signs will probably be back. So that's also the other issue. If you do bring in Behrman, you're probably getting rid of him instantly. Oh yeah, thank you for that. I am. Do you think Zhou takes part in qualifying? Absolutely no idea. Let me show you. I'm gonna get this up here. I've just got. Oh, here we are. So basically, the issue is, let's have a look at Kick. I'm going to have this on my other screen the whole stream, just keeping an eye on if they say anything about Zhou, because anything could happen. I'm hoping that, obviously, they take part, but it could be difficult to get that car ready. It was a big crash. What's your team for Jeddah decided? Right now, unless anyone gets me to think of anything differently, I will be going for this team in Jeddah. Purely because Behrman, hopefully driver of the day. Also, just because I can't afford Verstappen and I'm not taking the -10. I think it's too much of a risk. And then Aston Martin look really good around here for now, at least. It's the thing with my team. We've also got to remember, if you had my team last weekend, the only good thing is we have such a margin to the other teams that were picked, the Red Bull V-Carb and Red Bull Aston. So if you do go for the safe option of taking Verstappen in and having to bring in Magnussen and taking that -10, you still know that you're equaling yourself out to everyone else who has Red Bull Aston. So that's the only good thing that's happening out of this situation. Magnussen in for Bottas. Yeah, I take Magnussen over Bottas and Zhou at the minute. Zach, are you sure I can use a chip for my second team and still have the same chip available? Yeah, I'm 100% sure, mate. I can even show you right now because I don't use my third teams. If you see no negative here applied, you will see right here no negative still working on my main team. So yeah, there you go. It doesn't affect any of your other teams. Yeah, so you wouldn't take the -10, but I feel like using chips right now feels weird. Yeah, it's just if you keep Zhou and he doesn't take part in qualifying, then it definitely means that you're going to be getting a -5 on him. And then you know at least if you take a no negative, you're getting something out of it instantly. I don't think Behrman will do that great. It's so last minute. Yeah, I know. I just think with the Ferrari, if he's even half a tenth, even if he's a whole second off Leclerc, because Leclerc looks like he's in with the Red Bulls in this race, I think that's still like potentially at the edge of the top 10. It's difficult. It's a difficult one. Help, my team is Verstappen, Albon, Hulkenberg, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Mercedes, Ferrari. Yes, I need to mention this. Anyone who has Mercedes and Ferrari, I am very scared for you right now. Mercedes do not look good, and Ferrari have Behrman. Behrman, I mean, sorry, not Behrman. Is it Behrman or Behrman? So I would say the main thing is getting rid of this team, and the simple way to do that would be to do Red Bull. No, you'd have to take a -10 if you wanted to do that. So everyone with Mercedes and Ferrari would probably also have to take a -10 to do what we've been doing before to get to Aston Martin. Plus, where is my boy Ricciardo? There, you'd probably have to take a -10 as well. Did I just do that one? Yeah, Michael, it's not a bad shout, the -10, because it does set you up to still be better than. So let me actually show you the team points. This will be interesting. So if any of you are really in a bit of a rut at the minute because you've got the same team as me, as you can see, we did very good last weekend. 11th in my league with 271 people in it. Thank you very much. We did very good. And the thing is, yeah, let me scroll down to the other teams. So you've got people on like 220 who are the Mercedes Ferraris team. They've got the same issues as us going into this race weekend. And then you've also got the teams such as Art Deco, shout out. You've also got these teams. No, that's the red Ferrari V-Carb. Where is, I'm going to hopefully find the team I'm looking for. It was around 209 points, wasn't it? F1 Paddock, do you have the team I'm looking for? Yes. So this is the thing. If we take the -10 to get Verstappen in, Aston Martin in, we're still above everyone who has this team already. So it's a sort of safety barrier, at least, that we've got a 30-ish point gap. So if you take the -10, you can know without a doubt, okay, I'm cutting off anyone who's got this team, catching up to me, and I'm still ahead of them. Do you think I should try to get Max in this team? If you're taking the -10, you've got to bring in Max. Yeah, that's the only reason to be doing that -10 team, to get to Aston Martin and then to bring Max in. It's just with Perez and Ferrari, you're like a mil or two off, and that's the issue. Russell looks good. Hamilton, he could be a bit surprised. So let's actually look at the patches debrief. The only issue with bringing in Mercedes is they have what looks like competition from Aston Martin. Everyone's also been saying that McLaren have been sandbagging. So Mercedes I'm a little bit worried about. Although, if you do feel like Mercedes is the team, you could easily go Mercedes, Red Bull, which is not a bad shout. And then to get rid of Zhou, because we know some complications have come up, you'd bring in Gasly, Magnussen, whoever you're feeling. I've also got to remember, we've also all got to remember this little thing called pit stop points. Like we saw in Bahrain and all of 2023, bar the times Ferrari really screwed up, we know that Ferrari do decent pit stops. So even if they do bad, that's an extra 15, 20 points we're missing out on by not having Ferrari. See, now I would normally say yes to McLaren to Ferrari because Ferrari looks so much better, but I would honestly say if you don't have Verstappen, drop McLaren down to Aston and bring in Verstappen. Help me, my team is Ocon, Gasly, Zhou, Perez, Tsunoda, Red Bull and Ferrari. But I have 0 transfers, so should I do any transfers with the -10? If you've used your transfers already and that's your team, then no. Sadly, purely because you wouldn't be able to get to Verstappen in one move. And then if we're getting rid of Ferrari and Perez, you're taking a -20, and then we're talking way too many points you're getting rid of. Do you think I should? Oh yeah, I've answered that. Perez, Leclerc, Ricciardo, K-Mag. Yeah, honestly, I don't know if you can shout for Max on that team. But so this is a similar team, okay? Mercedes and Ferrari I'm really scared about because we don't even know if Mercedes are as fast as Ferrari, and Ferrari will get points from Leclerc blocking any other constructor, getting good points as well. So even no matter how bad Behrman does, Mercedes will get hampered by Leclerc. Why not Alonso instead of Behrman? Well, that is true. Let's have a look with Alonso. So you can bring in Alonso. So let's say here we went to Aston. The only issue I have with Alonso is, so this was what your team would look. Oh, that's why I completely forgot. For me, I can't bring in Alonso. 0.01 off because he went 0.1 off. I've already said what I've got to say about the price changes. Yeah, so not annoyed at all. But also, you got to just remember, again, like last race weekend, Aston looked bad on the race simulations. So if Aston do get like 3rd, 6th, whatever, top 10 in the quali, you've got to be careful that they don't get minus points going forward into the race, which is what I'm so scared about. Is me running a larger wing? Oh, sorry. I wrote that as me. Is Mercedes running a larger wing setup? Honestly, I heard they were going for top speed, I believe. So potentially. But will they get hindered too much in the first sector and the second sector to then get enough speed? I think that's what's going to happen. We've also got to remember, McLaren looks like they're sandbagging, and everyone on the commentators are saying we haven't seen what McLaren can do yet, which is what's scaring me even more. I'm not sure this is the best race to take out Perez. Yeah, I haven't even spoken about that as well. Last year, of course, Verstappen did have an issue. Take that with a pinch of salt. But Perez is always decent around here. So what happens if we take out Perez and then all of a sudden if we take out Perez for Verstappen and then Perez qualifies on pole and gets the win? We'll be hating ourselves. From Perez, Rick, Tsunoda, Bottas, Albon, RB, Ferrari. Is that Red Bull or VCarb? I'm guessing it's Red Bull from the rest of your team. Perez, Stroll, Hulk, Albon. What do you think? To Perez, Stroll, Hulk, Bottas. Stroll and Hulkenberg. If you have enough points to get to Magnussen, I would move to Magnussen. But if you only have enough points for Hulkenberg, I'd say, yeah, go for him. Just because I really don't trust Sargent anymore after seeing an FP3. Behrman looks good. I think quali. Yeah, we've also got to remember. Let's look at the. Where is it? We've also got to look at the practice. So yes, they're all a little bit off. They're not showing their full pace. Is it going to show? No, it's not. Yeah, here we go. But Behrman, he went off the track and still got a 129.3. Now, of course, it's not anywhere close to where he needs to be in quali. However, if Behrman just gets into the 128s, low 128s, I really do think he can get top 10. Is Zhou at risk? Yes, he's very much at risk. He might be taking a -5 for quali. However, if he takes a -5 for quali, I would go for the no negative. Also, the only good thing apart from that is he'll probably get loads of overtake points. Right, have I missed anything? because there's a lot of chats coming through. Thank you all for joining. We're almost at 200 viewers, I think, at a minute. Thank you all so much for joining. Alonso Masterclass incoming. Got him and Verstappen. Oh, you know what? FPL veteran, what's the rest of your team? What's your constructors? Because if you got Aston as well, you're cooking. Does no negative points mean all the negative points will go to 0 if a driver ends up with... So I believe it's just if a driver gets more than -0, they'll just put straight back to 0 points. So if Zhou got -5 and then still ended up on -2, you'd get 0 points. And we know around this track as well, DNFs could be happening, especially with Sargent on the field, Behrman on the field. It's a little bit worrying going into this race. There's going to be a crash at the first lap, innit? Espanol, no, sorry. I don't speak Spanish. Let me think. All I know is hace calor. And obviously, hola. I don't know much Spanish. I might need to catch up on my Spanish a bit. My team, VCAR, Ferrari, Max, Lewis. Oh, okay. Yuki, Gasly, Albon. Should I take a -10 to bring in Red Bull and Aston? I'm very scared for your team, purely because you need to have someone better than VCARB. Lewis in that Mercedes, I'm a little bit worried about as well. But yeah, I would say... if you've already got Max, I wouldn't go for the -10. I would say get rid of Lewis and get... No, actually, you don't have Red Bull. Yeah, I see what you mean. You need Red Bull. I would take the -10 to get to the Red Bull, not going to lie. Is Max... sorry, Nico. I don't know what you're... don't know what you mean. Whoa! Okay, sorry. Bottas on Magnussen. I would go for Magnussen. However, Bottas has a better chance to go up in value because... well, not really. I would go for Magnussen. Worse quali pace, better race pace, which is perfect for F1 Fantasy. So where is your mind right now regarding Team 1? Yeah, I'll show it again. Yeah, sure. So this is what my mind is for... this is the minus... This is the no... taking no hits. This is my team if I did that. And it would be Behrman. We've also got to remember 5 mil. 5 mil. No, we can't bring in anyone else. And then I would bring in... Where's Ricardo? This would be my team for now if I didn't take a -10. And if I took a -10, which I really don't want to at the minute, and I don't think I'm going to, it would look something like this. Because also you bring in Sargent. And then where's Sonoda? Where is Sonoda? Here's Sonoda. This would be my team if I took a -10. But yeah, those are the two options for me at the minute. There's the rest of the layouts. Will Hamilton flock or will Merck? Yeah, I just don't have much faith in Merck at the minute. Purely because if we look at their debriefs, they look all right on the race pace. However, Ferrari's qualifying pace a bit better. Also, we haven't seen... If Aston Martin's getting in the way of Mercedes, could be an issue. Also, we haven't seen much of the Mercedes in free practice. The only issue is my team could be resolved by... This is the other team I could take, by the way, for anyone who's interested. This is the other team I could do. Obviously, getting rid of... This is the other team I would go for. And it's taking a risk on Mercedes. However, it's not taking a risk on Behrman. Can Mercedes keep up with the pace? I kind of like this team. And the more I'm looking at it, the more I'm thinking, okay... you know what? I actually do like this team. So we'll see at 4 o'clock what I'm saying, but I might actually go for this team. My team, I believe, my team, VCAR, Ferrari, Max. Yeah, like I think I've talked about a similar team. Need to get rid of VCARB. Need to at least bring in Red Bull. Even Ferrari this week are a bit of an issue, but that VCARB is more of an issue than Ferrari at the minute. So I would go for them instead. Let me quickly, before I do any more messages, let me try putting in my code again. Here you all are. Purely because I haven't put it in the chat for a while. Right, Ferrari still get good points from Leclerc, and Perez looks good too. Why all of a sudden these changes? Behrman will likely qualify bad, but Ferrari has good race pace. Yeah, the only issue I'm scared of, which a lot of people are scared of as well, is why I'll most likely be taking a no negative this weekend is he went off on his like qualifying sort of simulation lap, and I'm scared he is gonna crash. That's the only issue, because if he does crash, we're in the mud. I have Max, Red Bull, Aston combo. Should I remove Joe and Sargent to get Hulkenberg and Kevin? Honestly, normally I'd say don't bring in Hulkenberg, but don't lock it in yet. But let me see if we've got any more news on Joe himself. So still no more news on Joe about if he's going to take place. If we find out Joe's not taking place in quali, then switch to Hulkenberg instantly. 210 people also. Jesus Christ, thank you all so much, man. Zach, I almost got your team fig, but with Gasly instead of Joe. What would you suggest for me? If you've got my team fig with Joe and Gasly instead of Joe, you're solid. Do you have your 2 free transfers? If you've got your 2 free transfers, then you're really looking good. But max 2 times is needed. Chris win, but we found out last weekend it wasn't. I'll show you. Last weekend I had the Perez team, and I did much better than any of the other max teams. I could have done better with I'll just get anyone who's had 239. We could have done even better if we didn't have Sonoda and Albon, but that's the issue we've got at the minute. Because so if we take Verstappen, Aston Martin needs to do well. McLaren, Mercedes and Ferrari still look like decent picks. And then if they do get behind the McLarens, Mercedes and Ferraris, then all of a sudden you're getting less points, and then you're just in a bit of a rut. This is the team I was thinking about. I've got your team free. What can we do? Yes, right. So for anyone with Mercedes or Ferraris, this is going directly to you purely because your teams are the most scared. I think I'm most scared for you guys at the minute. Like for me, at least, I can get to Verstappen -10 and it's okay. And even without going to Verstappen, I can still be fine. However, with you guys, Mercedes, a bit of an issue. Ferrari, a lot of an issue. So you would have to bring in Red Bull, and then how'd you get in VCARB? You'd have to take the -10. So for anyone who's got the Mercedes Ferrari team and aren't feeling comfortable, I would strongly recommend taking the -10 to bring in Aston Martin and Ricciardo. Purely because it's too much of a risk not having Red Bull this weekend when Mercedes have their issues with just not looking. They could be behind Leclerc, maybe Aston's, and then Red Bull, sorry, not Red Bull, Ferrari itself also have issues with having Behrman instead of Sainz. Yeah, there you go. I just talked about Team 3 for you, MJ. I have Max, Red Bull, Aston. Should I remove Joe and Sargent? Oh, yeah, I've spoken about that. Yes, you should. Are you sure if you use Team 2, you can still use... Yeah, mate. Look, I just showed you. I used a no negative on my Team 3 to show you. And look, it's still available here. And it's still available here. So you'll be fine if you use it on any other team. What do you think about Behrman? Yeah, I'm kind of liking him at the minute purely because he can't be that bad in a Ferrari. Like, I might be being a bit of an optimist here, but with how good the Ferrari team is, he has to really cock up to not get top 12. And then with his race pace and with how hectic Saudi Arabia can be, if he just stays out of trouble, doesn't crash, he'll probably get driver of the day just for being good. And yeah, so it's going to be an interesting call if you go for Behrman. And it'll be very differential, by the way. I doubt many people are going to go for Behrman. So if he does well, you're probably getting like a 0.5 mil or a mil increase. So you'd be sitting pretty if he does well. I'd go for Sonoda. More likely he will go up in price. You know what? I thought the same. However, I'm getting onto F1 Fantasy about this. The price changes they're wank. They're really bad. They don't make sense. And I generally think Ricciardo and Sonoda will go up the same points no matter. If both Sonoda and Ricciardo got 0.7, they'll probably both go up 0.3, 0.5. What do you think about Stroll and Red Bull to Aston Martin and Sargent? So is that the team with Perez in it? If it's got Perez in it, I would say just be careful of Sargent because he had a little incident in FP3. So can he last the whole race without having an incident? I really don't know at this point. But at the same time, it is a good team having that. So don't worry about it too much. I also want to say my no negative for Monaco. Yeah, I fully understand that. The only issue with Monaco these days is because there's no overtaking, basically. It's all just in one line. When was the last time we had like where there was no like rain? I might be being stupid here, but I can't remember the last time in Monaco we actually had like a big crash with a lot of people going out just because you can't overtake. I would genuinely say the one you want to use for Monaco, which obviously we're talking about later, is Final Fix. I used it last year. I remember Perez qualified like 15th. I just took him out because I knew he wasn't going to take it. I knew he wouldn't be able to go up the field, and he didn't. Help me. Oh, yeah. Wait, where'd you go? Where'd you go, mate? Help me, my team. Yes, I will help you, mate. E.Y. My team is Verstappen, Tsunoda, Albon, Zhou, Bottas, Red Bull. And Magnussen in for who? Right, so Red Bull and Aston Martin. Oh, okay. You're fine, mate. You're fine. I'd just get rid of Zhou for Magnussen. Purely because we don't know if Zhou's in qualifying. And if he isn't, that's like a -5 for not setting a lap in quali. I don't think it counts as a DNF. Maybe a DNS. Actually, let's have a look at that. Because if it is a -10, we've got to rethink. Then I'm definitely using no negative. Will it count? Will it count as a DNS? That is interesting. Shit. I don't think it will. I think it will be a -5. It'd be very harsh if it was -15. But that's why we've got to be careful there's no negative. I have Verstappen, Stroll, Zhou, Albon and Ricciardo, Red Bull and RB. What changes would you recommend? Yeah, so like I'm saying with everyone with VCARB, you've just got to get up to Aston Martin because they look decent this weekend. They'll probably get around 20 to 30 points. And VCARB, doubt they'll get more than 15. Pete's, we have to remember Alonso went for a risky strategy last weekend, waiting for a safety car. He will have a podium or be in top 5 max. That is a big coup from FPL veteran. My guy, I love your optimism because I do love Alonso as well. So I'd love for him to do well. However, are we certain this is going to happen? I mean, of course, we all know what's going to happen. Behrman pole. He's going to get the what's it called? The Grand Slam or whatever it's called. He's going to do it all, mate. Of course. I have Max Bottas, Zhou, Albon, Tsunoda, Red Bull, and AM. Yeah, again, just get rid of Zhou for Magnussen, and your team's fine. Let's remember Behrman got pole position at F2. Yeah, Behrman is good. It's just we've also got to remember, while thinking he is a good driver, he's only been in a Ferrari, an F1 car, one of the top F1 cars, for a little less than an hour, which is why I'm scared. So for your team one, you're going with Ferrari over the Merc. Yeah, I think so, because I think Leclerc will beat both Mercedes. And I'm hoping Behrman just needs to get into the top 10 to make sure we get those Ferrari qualifying points. And hopefully I'm just going to have to risk it for that. And then the issue with Mercedes is Aston Martin do look good on the qualifying. So if Aston Martin then beat Mercedes as well, then Mercedes, they're barely getting any points this weekend. I don't want to take a hit. Who should I bring? Who should I bring? Aston Martin for Mercedes or Ferrari? Honestly, if you don't want to take a hit, keep Mercedes and Ferrari. Ferrari with Leclerc and Behrman will still be better than Alonso and Stroll, I believe. Would you switch from Ferrari to McLaren? I think if you were going to change to anyone around the Ferrari price, it would be Mercedes. I know I just shat on them for like the last 10 minutes, but I still think they're going to do better than McLaren at least. Is it possible to apply no negative after the race? No, sadly not. I mean, if we were able to do that, I think everyone would, wouldn't they? That's the only issue. So no, you have to do it before the 5 o'clock for qualifying. Help me to... Yeah, no problem. I will help you. It's a -5. Yeah, thanks for clearing that up, guys. Michael and Isaac. Yeah, they didn't make it too obvious. Help me to Perez, Tsunoda, Magnussen, Bottas, Albon, Red Bull and McLaren. Shifting from Ferrari to McLaren, worth the risk. Is it upside good enough for McLaren? So if we have a look at the practice debrief, I'm scared about McLaren. I know they haven't showed their full hand yet, but I just don't think McLaren would be the call. I generally think Aston Martin would be a better option than McLaren this weekend. I don't want to take a hit. Who should I bring in? Aston Martin for Mercedes. Oh, yeah, I've talked about that. Before Sainz sickness, I was thinking Russell, Alonso. Oh, Bottas. Very interesting. Okay. I don't know about Russell. I mean, he did do decent last weekend, but that's not a bad option. What's your team going to look like now, Meletios? Sorry for the pronunciation. Would you change anything? Red Bull, Ferrari, Perez, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Albon, Zhou? Yes, Zhou for Magnussen. Hey man, hey Hilson, how's it going? Just had a thought. If Oliver scales even 1 point on his debut, yeah, that's FPL veteran. That's what I've been saying. People are going to be, I don't know if I can say this, people are going to be dick riding him the whole weekend because he's in a Ferrari on his debut and he's an F2 driver. So take that away from Verstappen. That's why if you have Perez as well, Verstappen's not going to get any more than 45 points. He won't be getting driver of the day if Beerman gets just in the top 10. So that's also why if Beerman does just get in the top 10 and gets driver of the day, that's around 15 to 25 points, which is decent. Very good for a second driver. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Oh, I will say though, Ferrari constructor-wise, constructors don't get the driver of the day points. That's the only issue. So that's why I like the idea of going from Ferrari to Aston to get Beerman in. If I did. Is it possible to change all picks without drawbacks after the race? Well, there is ways to do it. I wouldn't recommend doing it, but if you did limitless, wildcard, limitless or wildcard, then you wouldn't take any hits. But I wouldn't recommend doing it here. Yeah, mate, I know, that's what I'm saying. Actually, go on then. Let's start the first poll of the day, if I can. How the hell did I do polls again? Yes, here we go. Right, give me a second. I'm going to do a poll on who thinks Beerman's going to get driver of the day. Because I think it's possible. Right, let's see. Right, what are you all thinking? Because I think I agree on yes. That he's going to get it just because people are going to love him in an F1 car. Right, I have Max, Ricciardo. Oh, sorry. Oh, I missed quite a few there. Max, Bottas, Beerman, Ricciardo, Albon, Ferrari, and Aston. No, Ferrari and Aston's a very scary constructor duo. You've got to have Red Bull if you go with Aston as well. Make sure to watch F2 in the background. Beerman is racing. Okay. Hang on a second. Let's see what he's up to. I'll do that in a second. I've got way too many comments to get back to, and I need to set up a new tab. What is better? Also, I'd love it if I could show the stream, but I get why, because you have to pay for it. I have Max, Ricciardo, Ocon, Bottas, Ferrari, Red Bull. I'm guessing that's VCarb. You will want to get rid of both Ferrari and VCarb this weekend, I'd say, to get the Red Bull Aston. Stroll VCarb versus Sergeant Aston. Definitely, because Aston are going to get a lot more points. Because even if Aston get what they got last weekend, 20 points, VCarb only got 7. There's no way Stroll gets you the extra 13 points on top of that. Is this a good team for the weekend? Max, Stroll, Albon. It's okay, but just I so recommend not getting VCarb. I cannot recommend it enough. Also, what is the poll saying? Wow, it's really split in the middle, you know. 52% of no, 48% yes for Will Beerman. Beerman. Damn pronunciation. He's literally British, so I should know how to say his name. That's really interesting. Because I would have to go with yes. Did I vote no? I don't think I can vote on my own ones. But it's a democracy here, so we'd have to go Beerman no on the driver of the day. I'll leave that up for another minute or so, and we'll see what happens. So, Stroll... Oh, yeah, I've talked about that. Would you change a Zhou for Magnussen if you already have Hulk in the team? Yes, for now. We still haven't had any updates on what is happening with Zhou. So, I'd be very careful if you're going to get Zhou. Because if he takes that -5 in quali, you'd probably have to go no negative. And also, even if he got overtake points, would it be enough to push him to get over that 5 points? Because he did get a lot in last weekend in Bahrain, he got 11 points for coming 11th because he got so many overtakes. However, is he going to do it again this weekend? I don't think so. At least not 11th. Yeah, if he starts P20, I'll be feasting. Yeah, the only issue, mate, is if he doesn't qualify, he'll be taking a negative, which is the only issue. Thoughts on Perez, Stroll, Magnussen, Albon, and Red Bull Merc? Very similar to the team I was thinking of at the same time as well. So, Merc versus Ferrari. Yeah, all right. So, the poll ended. Behrman, he's not going to get driver of the day, everyone's saying. So, let's start a new poll, because I like this. Who will do better? What are we saying? Are we saying Mercedes or Ferrari? So I'm on the side of Ferrari purely because I think Mercedes will get swamped into the gaps of Aston, McLaren, and potentially Behrman. We'll see. And that's the issue with Mercedes, because I know even if Behrman does terrible, Leclerc can carry that team. Again, it's so split. You know what? I actually love this weekend. This weekend, as I can't remember the last time I've been this excited going through practices and stuff, because it's just so up for grabs. No one knows. It's 50-50 basically on every poll we're doing. It's insane. Sargent is racing and qualifying, right? Yeah, he will race. He only had I think it was to the suspension. He clipped the wall and he couldn't turn right, basically. But that shouldn't be too much of an issue to get for Williams engineers, the Williams mechanics to get ready for qualifying. Change Ferraris to Mercedes. So I would stick with Ferrari, and it looks like Ferrari's just edging out Mercedes on the pole. And I would have to say I agree, because like I've said, Leclerc will be battling with Perez, I think, this weekend. And then Mercedes, Aston Martin, and McLaren will all be battling there. So if Mercedes get like 4th and 7th, it still wouldn't be better, I don't think, than Leclerc in 3rd or 2nd and Behrman in like 10th or 11th. Who would you remove Hamilton to put Behrman in to swap? Yeah, I would. Swap Aston from VCarb. Either Behrman or Goat Alonso drive the day. Yeah, man, yeah. We know what's up. I've got Red Bull, VCarb, Verstappen, Stroll, Ricciardo, and Sargent. What changes to avoid taking a 10-point deduction? So, if you wanted to get rid of VCarb, no. Yeah, okay. I would say drop Stroll and Ricciardo. To a Magnussen and potentially a Sargent or Bottas. It depends on how many points you've got, how much money you've got left, and then bring in the Stroll. I wouldn't remove Max if you had Red Bull and Aston, because if you go for Red Bull and Aston, Max sort of is the reason you're going for it. I'm going to lock in Verstappen, Ricciardo, Zhou, Albon, Sargent, Red Bull and Aston. Yeah, it's going to be a good team. Morris, are you going to take a -10 for that? Because it's a bit of a risk, but I fully understand why. Just be careful with having Zhou and Sargent on the same team, considering Zhou might not start and not Albon, Sargent. Well, Sargent. We'll see what happens with Sargent. He's already crashed once this weekend. Thoughts on Alonso, Leclerc, Stroll, Bear, Hulk, Ferrari, Aston? I like the drivers, however, I just don't think not having Red Bull this weekend is enough. Because Red Bull, I think, are the only team we know are going to be fighting at the top. So this weekend, I'm really scared that if you don't get Red Bull, every other team's just going to get swamped by it, even if everyone else does bad anywhere else. Got Perez, Stroll, Sargent, Tsunoda, pardon me, Albon, Red Bull and Ferrari. Thoughts? Do you still have the 2 free transfers? Because you've got the 2 free transfers. If you've got enough, Aston to Verstappen. If you've not got enough, I would recommend probably sticking with what you've got. However, it really is an issue of... So we've got 3 issues here. Let's go back to my team. So we've got 3 issues. We've got the Oh, yeah, sorry, I need to end this poll. 130 people voted on it. Thank you so much. So Ferrari wins over. So I think out of the Ferrari or Mercedes constructor, people are going for Ferrari. However, we've also got this constructor where will Aston Martin get you enough points to then consider bringing in Behrman? I don't think so. I think I've changed my mind, and I'm gonna go with the Ferrari, and I'm gonna go with Stroll. I think if I don't even have to take the no negative, I think this is what I could look like this weekend. Oh shit, I'd have to bring in Hulkenberg though. I think I'd have to risk it on Hulkenberg and hope that Perez has a good weekend. No, then I don't have to do... Morris, if you don't have to do the -10, then that's fine then. Yeah. Kind of lost the joy in watching F1 with Max Dominance, but your videos with the pants about myself. Mate, honestly, thank you so much. That means so much to me, man. I know how it feels watching Max, not being a Red Bull like fan. It is a bit of an issue, but that's the beauty of F1 Fantasy. It's got its issues. However, when was the last time any of us were feeling this way over a practice session? Like, it's mental. This is all I could think of today. Like, what team am I going to choose? Signs out. This is insane. Oh, we just live for the drama, don't we? We fucking love it. Oh, I don't think I should have said that on live stream. I don't know how the YouTube rules work. If you have Joe and Sargent, you have to use a no negative. Also, it's just a... Yes, fully agree with John O'Sullivan. Definitely way too risky to not do no negative with those two. Right, Red Bull, Ferrari, Max, Albon, Ricardo. Sorry, I need a bit of a drink. It's getting quite hot in here. Max, Albon, Tsunoda, Bottas. What free transfers would you make? I would do what I did. So, anyway, it's similar at least. Oh my god, I'm an idiot. Also, when I showed my team earlier, I'd bring in Bottas. So I'd bring in Bottas and Stroll. So, mate, for you who were talking about the free teams, the 2 free transfers, this is what I would do with that team you were talking about. I believe you had the same team. Yeah, this is what I would do. And you'll probably see me lock it in about an hour. Tommy, hey, nice to see you, Tommy, man. I have the same team 1, team Zach. Oh, sorry. I don't know if I want to change anything, but I'm worried about Ricardo. I want to have someone a little bit different. What's your best 3 replacements? So, best 3 replacements for Ricardo, hands down, are if you can get the money up to Behrman, or Stroll, or the other option is to drop down to a Gasly, because we know Alpine are going to do rubbish, and then you build up again. Well, no, and then they do bad in quali, and then you get the race points, because they'll come 20th probably in quali again. I'd be surprised if Alpine all of a sudden got better over the last weekend. I have your team 1, but Ricardo swapped to Gasly. Gasly to hopefully go up in value. Yes, hopefully he should. But with how the team values are working at the minute, don't even get me started with how rubbish the team values are. A lot of people have tried to speak about them, and they haven't really given that much info. But let me show you guys. I'll quickly take a detour on this. Let me take you on a detour to where it says... yeah, sorry, I was just making sure that it was still playing. So, where was it? Picking a team, was it on? Yes. Where's the points? I can't find it. Of course I can't find it while I'm trying to look for it. Here we go, scores. No, leagues, picking a team. Sorry about this. I'm trying to find the points because I want to show you exactly... yeah, hang on, here we go. So they're so vague with what they've been saying. Prices can increase or decrease depending on their performance. Well, it clearly isn't. There's definitely some influence on how many people have picked them, because... And I just don't like how they're so vague about it. They need to be better about this. And it would take like it would take a few minutes to just detail, okay, it does get influenced by this also. Because no one knows what it's getting influenced by as well. Because Ricardo, 5 points minus 0.1. I mean, I talked about it in my video, so I won't go on a tangent for too long. Fast-paced street circuit, chances of Behrman DNF, yes. So if you... Right, here's the thing. If you have Behrman, Zhou, or Sargent in your team, I would use the no negative. Sorry if it was asked. Merc or Ferrari convinced me for one or the other. We're going Ferrari. We're going for it. We're going for it, everyone. we're taking the leap. Behrman for the win. Sorry if it was asked, and thanks for all the help. What would change here? Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, there's been quite a few comments, so if I've missed any, just put it back down, and I'll hopefully see it again. I have Max, Sonoda, Bottas, Magnussen. This is for Ross Brown. I thought it was Braun for a second. Oh wait, no, sorry, these are two different messages. But for Ross Brown, Max, Sonoda, Bottas, Magnussen, Albon with Ferrari, Mercedes. Should I use the no negative? Well, it depends who you're bringing in. For that team in general, I wouldn't. I know I just said if you have Behrman in your team, but not with Ferrari's Constructor. I think you have to risk it if you're going for the Ferrari Constructor. But I would highly recommend not having Ferrari and Mercedes this weekend as a duo. So I wouldn't recommend having this team. I would try to steer away from them. So you've got the Red Bull Aston Martin team here. You've also got the Ferrari Red Bull team, which I think would be the shouts at the minute. So let's have a look at more of this. Max Perez. No, worth it to get rid of VCarb if it also means getting rid of Max. Would you really have to get rid of Max? Because, Lawrence, tell me your team down in the comments. Because if you've got the likes of Stroll, Ricardo, whatever, you can easily drop down to a Bottas or a Magnussen and make up the money somewhere else to get up to Aston. Where have you gone? Oh. I have the same 100 million and don't know what to do. Must I replace Ricardo and Bottas for whom? Yes, so if you can bring in Stroll, I would bring in Stroll Sargent. Although, be careful, like I said, probably bring in the no negative if you're going to go for that. Eduardo, I really don't know what's going on with your team if it's still saying 100 mil. I would generally live chat F1 Fantasy because clearly something's gone wrong there if you can't do it. I do feel bad for you because it's a bit rubbish. Safety car lap in F2. Oh my god, yeah, I need to put that on. Right, let me get up another. Actually, I haven't looked at the Zhou stuff for a minute. Anything on Zhou? No, still nothing on Zhou. If anyone's has like their Instagram as well, put it in the chat if you see any changes to Zhou. I might have to use my wildcard. I've used my two transfers for Zhou Yuki for Max Albon before. Oh no! Okay, for an exemption, Dean. I would say yeah, you might have to wildcard if you've still got signs in your team. You've got a wildcard. Yeah, if you do wildcard, I would recommend doing that Red Bull Aston Martin team. Actually, would I? Because we've also got to remember, if we think about this, I'm trying to get the F2 up as well, but I keep on getting distracted. We've also got to remember, if we do take that -10 next week, we also then can't go back to the Ferrari team. And if Sainz is back for Ferrari, then we'll want to go back to the team we've got at the minute. But also, we've got the same point where if Aston go up 0.5 million this weekend because they've done well, team value-wise, it would get us closer to Verstappen. So we've really got an issue here of more team value if you go for the Aston team. However, and also if Behrman does well, you know what? Right, so let's go back to this. Sorry for any of the comments. I'll get back to you guys in a second because I've really got to get through this. If we think about this, right, so if you have the Ferrari team, you've got the issue of who's going up in price. Because this is what my team would look like. You've got Stroll. I think the music's too loud for a bit there. You'd have Stroll and the likes of Bottas. Now, who's actually going to go up in value for this team? Bottas maybe, Albon, but Ferrari maybe. The thing is, though, if we risked it for that chocolate biscuit, Behrman, if he does well, we're talking 0.5 to 1 million difference in price. And same with Aston. If we get in Aston, what happens there? They potentially, this weekend, they will probably go up another 0.5 million. And then we're closer to the Verstappen team. So it is interesting. Are we... right, I'm going to do another poll for this quickly. And then I'll get back to the comments. Right, so the poll will be... so Team Ferrari will be the point scoring team, and Aston team is the high value team. So what plan are you going for? So points or team value. So let's put this down here. So you've obviously got the Ferrari team, which would probably get you more points. However, the Aston Martin team with Behrman has more of a chance to bring up your team value to get to the Verstappen, which is also what I'm a little bit worried about. If I wanted to bring in Verstappen later on. Oh my God, again. It's okay, actually it's not as close as before. But it's always so close. There's never like an 80%, 70%. What do you think about Perez, McLaren, Red Bull? Scrap McLaren. They will be in the battle with Mercedes and all that bollocks. So you don't want to be near McLaren, I don't think. Again, Ferrari's still a better shout than McLaren. And we went over, I think all of us agreed that Ferrari looked like the better option to Mercedes. What do you think of Perez, Alonso, Tsunoda? Ooh, pardon me. Red Bull, Ferrari. Wow. That's actually a really decent team, yeah. If you can afford Alonso, because obviously I'm 0.1 off, annoyingly, I would do that. But yeah, hands down, if you... Oh, no, sorry. Yeah, I just saw. You said scrap that. Too risky to you, free time on max today? Yeah, hands down, definitely. Also, because you want to wait for the sprint weekends, because like any multiplier, let's get like well smart here. For any multiplier, the more points you can score, the more it will multiply, obviously, those points. So you want to wait for the sprint race weekend where you get more points. So the multiplier will multiply more points. Check Discord later, bro. I've cooked up. Oh, yes. So, Gus, I am so sorry. Yeah. I've been so busy today. I will check Discord after I've gone off this live in about an hour. And we'll get some teams thought of for the other F1 Fantasy. Coming this week, fresh, best team. So, I'm guessing you only have 100 million, right? If you've only got 100 million because you're fresh into this team, here is a team for 100 million you could go for. So, I would recommend... Also, what we saying? So, everyone would go for the points over the team value. Interesting. Okay. So, people value points over team value. I understand, yeah. That is interesting. Oh... It's annoying as well, because I generally don't know as well. I feel like I would go more on the value side, just because later down the line I'd be laughing, but at the same time, it could be difficult. But yes. Oh, what the hell? Where did my Sorry about that. So I would go for the Red Bull, Aston Martin. If you only had 100 million, you're fresh from it, with Verstappen. Then where's my boy? Where's my boy? Why does it keep on refreshing? I don't know why it keeps on refreshing. Sorry about that. Yeah, and then I'd bring in either Stroll, Ricciardo. What the hell is going on? Why is it? Who knows? Thoughts on Ferrari, Red Bull, Constructor? Yes, interested. Leclerc, Bear. Oh my God. Oh, okay. We've got someone with big balls in the chat right now. Joey Adami. Oh, double Ferrari. No, triple Ferrari. Oh, you know what? I love your style. Purely because that you have to have some big balls to want to go for that team. However, let's think about this. So, Perez Leclerc, that's actually a decent shout. I can understand why you'd want to do that. Bear, we've talked about him potentially getting driver of the day, and if he gets driver of the day, it would be worth bringing him in. And then Magnussen, Hulkenberg. I wouldn't use Hulkenberg. If you can get it up to Albon, because I believe he's 0.6 more. If you can just about get it to Albon, I would do that. Option 1, Red, Aston would be a -10, or option 2 for Red and Ferrari. Yeah, I would steer clear of the -10s. So... For me, I'm probably going to stick with what I've got. Obviously, I haven't changed who I'm going to do at the minute. But purely because... Why is it refreshing? That is really annoying me. I don't know why, but Let's make sure it's still doing this. Yeah. Hang on, I just need to... I need to make sure that... that the music... doesn't go onto anything that I can't play. Because I do not want to get copyright striked. My fantasy keeps refreshing too. Yeah, is it everyone that's having that at the minute? It's really annoying me trying to get a draft. Like, LBJ, I'll try to get your draft in. So let's get a wildcard draft in. Yeah, so also I'd like to add, if you wildcarded here, you can still go out of it and not get a wildcard. Yeah, I tell you what, they need to fix this bleeding, this game. You know, I'm quite critical about this game sometimes, purely because they do muck it up a lot, but I'll give them the benefit of the doubt for now because they've got a lot going on. Bottas or Hulkenberg? Bottas. Hulkenberg does too well in qualifying, and that race pace is just too bad. But right, so if we had a wild card, I would do the Verstappen Aston Martin team, and then I'll try to be quick. Right, so you can't bring in Alonso. I would then bring in Yuki. Where's K-Mag? K-Mag. Where's Bots? And Albon. That's my wild card if you want to do wild card. It didn't refresh. Maybe we've gone away from it. Yes. So that would be if you were going to wildcard. However, I really don't recommend wildcarding. It's just way too early on in the year for that. How good is even keeping Ferrari? So would it be Ferrari, Russell, Alonso, or change to Mercedes, Alonso? So let me get that. Yeah. Right. Right. Need help. I'll get onto that in a second, Milan. Need help. My team: Verstappen, Stroll, Ricciardo, Albon, Zhou, Red Bull, RB. Yeah. Christopher. Is it Christopher? I think so. Up to Aston Martin, Stroll, down to a lower costing driver, and if you need, yeah, and then that's your 2 free transfers. How good is yeah, so would Ferrari, Russell, Alonso? So I think that the problem is with going for someone like Russell and Alonso is you've got to have one big driver for the 2 times. Now, normally it'd be Verstappen. However, Perez is close enough to have Perez as that 2 times. Whereas if you brought in Russell and Alonso, they'd probably both get about 20 points-ish. And getting 40 points from 2 times just isn't enough. So I wouldn't have Russell and Alonso. Or Mercedes and Alonso. Current team is Max Perez, Albon, Yuki, Bottas, Ferrari and Red Bull. I was thinking of changing Ferraris for Aston. I'm guessing... Just be careful because constructors are so key on F1 Fantasy. I would honestly focus on your constructors there. Mainly getting in Aston. No, actually, I think Red Bull would be more useful to have. Bot or Hulk, Bottas, Andreas. If I use my limitless chess, what would my team be? McLaren or Mercedes? Mercedes. Hey, Chevrolet, how you doing, man? Chevrolet is the GOAT of F1 Fantasy. Lovely to see you in the chat, man. But yeah, right, let's get your limitless activated. So what we talking about if we had the limitless? Yeah, I know. So of course, Verstappen, Perez with Leclerc. Now, another reason why I would not use limitless this weekend is because we don't really have the best options for constructors. So I would go for then Hamilton or Russell. Probably Hamilton just to be safe. And then just for a bit of variation, Norris. Just so if Mercedes do have a bit of a nightmare with both their cars. The problem is, constructor-wise, it would probably be still the best shout to go for Ferrari. However, because it's not the best race weekend for any second constructor, I'd just be careful when you do that. Also, we hit over 300 viewers watching, I believe. Wow. Thank you all so much, man. Yeah. Like and subscribe. I don't know why I said it like that. Zhou or Bottas, if you can pick either. For now, Bottas, because we love Zhou. We love Zhou in F1 Fantasy. He always does well. However, he had a slight incident, and we're still not too sure that he's going to be racing in qualifying. Now, I will say, so I'm going to end this live stream at 4:30. I'd recommend for anyone who wants to know what's going on, watch the interviews before locking in and see if they talk about if Zhou's going to be racing, because that'll be one of the big points. Yeah, thanks, man. It feels insane. Thank you all so much for basically listening to me waffle about F1 Fantasy. Chances of Ocon or Piastri gaining value. Ocon, quite high, probably, because he'll qualify low and then do well. Hello, just want to say, figured out your channel this season and love your help for F1 Fantasy. Hey, love to see it, man. And Egypt, big up Egypt. Oh, no, actually, why did I just say big up? I sound like Bevo. Oh, forget I ever said that. Ugh. But I do like Egypt, yeah. I actually went there when I was a kid. It was very nice. Saw the pyramids in there. I'm waffling. Please help, bro. My team is Verstappen, Ricciardo, Tsunoda. Oh, also, thank you, Chevrolet. Honestly, that would be very massive, being able to get to 100,000. I mean, baby steps. This channel's been doing insane at the minute, and I can't thank you all for the support enough. And it just feels insane. Yeah, we've almost doubled subs in the last week or so, which, if you told me that going into March, I wouldn't have believed you. So thank you all so much. But yes, right, back to the F1 Fantasy. Please help. Yeah, right. So Verstappen, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Bottas, Merc, Ferrari. Should I take the -10 and get Red Bull, Aston, or Red Bull, Ferrari? So is the -10 for Red Bull, Aston? So if you cannot take a -10 to go to Red Bull, Ferrari, I'd go to Red Bull, Ferrari. However, if you need to take a -10 to go to both, I would not risk the Red Bull, Ferrari team and get Verstappen in your team ASAP. That's what I would go for. Zach, are you on Twitter? Yeah, hang on. Right, let me do my things again. I will send all the links. I need to get. Actually, I'll ask one of my mates. To help me out on this. Because at the minute, on the stream, there's no like. It's just me looking at everything. I might see if one of my mates could help me like putting links and stuff in. But yeah, let me find my Twitter for you. Here's the Twitter. I believe it should work. No, that's Steak F1's. Yeah, my bad. A little detour. Here we go. I've got the link. Let's put it here. Right, so it should be there for anyone on the Twitter. Yeah, I speak on Twitter quite a bit because although I can't get a lot of big messages in, it's really nice to be able to put little messages, even just about like Sainz getting replaced by Behrman. What's your team this weekend? Yeah, I'll go back over that again. So my team this weekend is most likely going to be this. Where's my boy Lancey? Purely because I could go for another team with Behrman. I'm just scared that he's going to crash. And Bottas, purely because Zhou looks like a bit of an issue at the minute. Like I keep saying, though, no one lock in yet because can't stop drinking. Please help, bro. Can't stop drinking cold water. What do I do? Right, I've got to... Right, this is not about F1 Fantasy, but hang on. I would recommend either, I don't know, drinking hot water or drinking Dr. Pepper, actually. Dr. Pepper's elite. I don't care what anyone says. Dr. Pepper is the best. And I know a Coke Cherry's all right, but it doesn't hit the same. Do you think that Merc will be a better choice than Ferrari given Sainz out? No. And here's the reason why. Merc are not going to be fighting Red Bull. Leclerc will be fighting, I think even potentially Verstappen, if we're being lucky, definitely will be fighting up there with Perez. Mercedes will be fighting with Aston, McLaren all race long. So there's a chance that they don't even get top 5, both of them. And that's too much of a risk. With Leclerc potentially coming second and third, Behrman's got to be top 12. And I think that would round out to be just enough to keep Ferrari. I am playing week to week for weekly prizes. Does that mean... Huh? Huh? G-Man, wait, could you do the message again? Sorry, I don't think I understand. What do you think of Perez, Albon, Ricciardo, Tsunoda, Bottas, Red Bull, Mercedes? Yeah, I do like it. We did a poll earlier about Mercedes or Ferrari. Everyone, it was about 55% to Ferrari, 45 to Mercedes. So having Mercedes isn't a bad shout. It's just whether or not they're faster than the Ferrari. And I just don't think they are. I don't think they can keep up with Leclerc. I've done that. But you want to have Zhou next weekend, so that's already 2 free transfers. Yeah, so basically, that's the issue with going through these teams as well. Because if you change your team too much, you can't get back to this team. So if I did Stroll to... Yeah, okay, that's fine. Stroll to Bottas, like I was saying. Next weekend, I would most likely drop Albon to... actually, I'm going to actually... No, actually, scratch that. This weekend, if Zhou's not in qualifying, he's most likely going to drop back down to to 6.2. So then you get Bottas. Hopefully he goes up 0.5 million. And then we bring back Zhou next weekend. Yes. Yeah, live ads. Honestly, that's exactly basically what I've done. Yeah, yeah, Brandon, I'm sticking with Red Bull Ferrari. I say unless anything comes up. I mean, today, it sounds like anything could happen in F1 Fantasy or F1 in general. But yeah. Right. So Max, Stroll, Ricciardo, Alonso, Bottas. Oh, sorry, Albon, Bottas, and Red Bull RB. How from these teams do you make Red Bull to Aston? Red Bull Aston, I mean. So you take out VCarb. You would then take out. You'd then take out Stroll. And then move Stroll down to a Bottas. Oh, no, you've already got Bottas. You'd either take Stroll down to a Sargent if you only got a little bit of money, or to a Magnussen, and then you'd bring in Aston Martin. One more variation to the Ferrari Red Bull Constructor team. Leclerc, Bear. Yeah, we talked about this, Joey. Yeah, I really like your style. It's a risk. But is it one that people are willing to do? Me? No. I think even me, who loves going for like these Perez teams, and taking a risk, I think Leclerc and Behrman are just too much of a risk to take. Help. Oh, I hate how much it just drops down whenever I do that. Help. I traded Bottas for Zhou like an hour ago. Should I take... No. Whoa. So take it on the chin. It's never worth taking the -10 because you're still going to be net because... Right, Zhou, he's going to get a -5 if he doesn't be in quali. However, he's probably most likely going to end up near to 0 points. That is better than going back to Bottas, who's probably going to get less than 10 points and taking a -10. So he'd still be in a negative position, if you get what I mean. With Sainz problem, what is the best constructor combination? So I still think it's Red Bull Ferrari. It's a risk, though, because this is the team that's scaring me right now. It is Verstappen with Aston Martin. So obviously Verstappen with Aston Martin. So I would say if you already had Red Bull Aston going into this weekend, stick with Red Bull Aston. If you had Red Bull VCarb, stick with go to Red Bull Aston. If you had Red Bull Ferrari, take it on the chin or take the -10. Actually, no, don't take the -10. Take the Red Bull Ferrari, and we've just got to hope that Perez does what he normally does, and Behrman just comes top 10, gets driver... well, actually, not if you've not got him, and does good enough to get Ferrari enough points. However, it's a bit all over the place at the minute, because I still might change to Red Bull Aston and take the -10, but the problem is if I do that, then I've still got Zhou, who's got a -5 coming his way. It gets messy for teams like this. So I might just have to take it on the chin this weekend for anyone on this team and hope that we're still ahead of everyone else with the other team, or hope for a Verstappen stinker, honestly. Any Verstappen fans, I'm sorry for what I'm about to say, but please, Verstappen, please just let someone else win this weekend. Is Ricciardo an absolute no? No, Ricciardo's not a no. It's just when you can go up to a Stroll or drop him down to bring in Aston from VCarb, it just doesn't seem worth it having him in your team. Need advice? My team: Max, Ricciardo, Albon, Sargent, Bottas, Red Bull, Aston. 6 million in the bank. Holy schmoly. If you've got 6 million in the bank, get to Max and Behrman. Because I don't think... No. Ricardo's on 8.9. You might... Yeah, you'll be able to afford Alonso. Get Max and Alonso in if you could. John. With Red Bull and Aston. I would go for that. I have Ferrari and Visa as constructors. For the team, I have Max, Leclerc, Tsunoda, Gasly, and Albon. I think I should change Ferrari and Visa, but not too sure. Can you help with the review? Yeah, of course. Basically, you really want to have Red Bull. The problem with this team is, right now, you're probably going to have to take... right, having Max, good. You're probably going to have to take a negative to sort it out. I mean, you could go Ferrari, Aston, get rid of Leclerc. However, you're most likely going to have to take a -10 with this here. And if you're taking a -10, I would say get to Red Bull Aston first off the bat. And then get rid of Leclerc and drop him down to a driver like Behrman or Stroll. Perez ×2, Behrman, Zhou, Stroll, Sargent, Red Bull and Aston. Right, it's good, but it's risky. Because you have to hope that everyone rides on the Behrman hype train and gets driver of the day just for being in that Ferrari and doing decent. And you also have to hope that he also doesn't do well enough that Ferrari as a constructor were the better option. So again, it's like, it's contradicting. But again, every team this weekend I think is quite contradictory because you're hoping for things to happen to other drivers that if it does happen, it also affects your team. So it is difficult. Russell, fast and Ferrari on race pace. Yeah, so let's go back to this. The issue I have, because normally I would go, yeah, Mercedes, boom, let's get onto Mercedes as soon as possible. The issue is with this is their qualifying pace. Now, McLaren look much better than their well, not much better, but apparently they might be sandbagging quite a bit. And if Alonso does what Alonso does and blocks the Mercedes from Leclerc, then we've got an issue on our hands because then where are Russell and Hamilton going to get their points? To get Aston without taking a -10, I've got to get Sargent or Hulkenberg. I have Bottas already. So the question is Hulk or Sargent. Hulk just to be safe, because we know at least Hulkenberg. Touch wood. I've got wood on my table here. Touch wood. We know that Hulkenberg won't is less likely to crash than Sargent at Saudi Arabia or Jeddah. Oh, I've lost that. No, Max win. No, Max will win. Go, Max. Yeah. Morris, all I'm saying is what happened last weekend? Right, where's the rest of it? Oh, sorry, I missed quite a few there. Because I had to... I had to get the chat back up. How about wildcard? Yeah, I would recommend steering clear of wildcards for now. Purely because... you're just going to need it down the line. And also with the wild card, the best team you can get is probably Red Bull Aston. And even that team, let's get real, no matter what happens this weekend, is still only going to be max 30 points ahead of the team we've got at the minute. So I would just be careful if you do wild card. Right. Team 1 is for Verstappen, Red Bull, Ferrari path. Yeah. Yeah, Kevin. That's why... you've also got this thing where if you wanted to go for value over driver, this weekend, realistically, if Aston get more than 30 points, then what happens? They'll get about 0.5 million increase. Great going into Verstappen. Behrman is the guy you'd have, or Alonso. They'll both probably go up in team value. So it'd be a very good value team. Maybe not points-wise, but value, you'd go up and be closer to getting Verstappen in your team. But why no negative for Logan? If Zhou can participate in qualifying, I'm not doing a no negative next week. Yeah, no, of course. Yeah, if Zhou is back in for quali, which we annoyingly still don't have confirmation, I believe. I haven't seen anything on Twitter. Then don't no negative. But it's just because he crashed in FP3. So I'm just a little bit skeptical of him at the minute. Right, where did... with a no negative chip activated, would you switch Bottas for either hash driver? Yeah, I would bring in Magnussen. But I would bring in Magnussen even if you had enough money from Bottas to Magnussen anyway. I have Max, Ricciardo, Albon, Tsunoda, Bottas, Ferrari, Merc. Do you think I should make changes? Yes. Can't say this enough. Mercedes and Ferrari looking like a bit of a dumpster fire at the minute. You've got to be careful with them. Now, who'd you bring in? I would just, if you have enough money, go to Red Bull Aston. If you don't have enough money, then what could you do? Because realistically, this team I made this weekend, so it's only 100 million, because I don't have to worry too much about what's going on there. If you have enough money to go Red Bull Aston, I would do that. If not, then you might have to just risk it and keep Verstappen, because he's decent, because it's not worth taking the -10. Help. Oh, sorry. Right, hang on quickly. I'm going to re-put this in the chat. Bob. Beep. So, end decision. Stroll, Ferrari, Aston, Ocon, Red Bull, V-Carb, or Alonso, Ferrari, Red Bull. The team with Red Bull in it. Milan. Definitely. Any team with Red Bull's definitely one you'd probably want to go for. If I accidentally use Limitless, what kind of team would you recommend? Okay, let's go back to this, shall we? I believe actually no, we don't need to show it. Actually, I'll show it on the screen just because why not? But this is the team I would recommend. Still Ferrari, Perez, Leclerc, Hamilton, Norris. That's the team I'd recommend. I had Max, Alonso, Ferrari, Aston Martin, and I've decided to go Max, Gasly, Red Bull, Aston Martin. Obviously going for points over budget, building budget. Yeah, well, I mean, that's still a good team. Having Max, Red Bull, and Aston Martin it's juicy. It is very juicy. And I still think I might do it. I'm so scared. I've only got an hour left. And realistically, these are the two teams that I would go for now. You've got my team here, which I'd get rid of for Stroll. And where's my boy at? Bottas. Or I take the -10, which I'm thinking I might to go to Aston. To bring in Verstappen. So then we can then bring in Bottas and K-Mag. And I genuinely think I might do that for the -10. I know it's annoying taking a -10, but I'm thinking of it strategically because everyone around us who's got Red Bull Aston, is it worth taking the risk going for the Ferrari team? I don't think it is, considering if Verstappen does so much better this weekend and Behrman does really screw up, then we've got a slight issue. Do you think Red Bull, Aston, Max, Sonoda with no negative is okay? Yeah, mate. Be careful with the no negative though for now, because we still don't know about Zhou too much. But yeah, that's a good team. I've lost your name. I wouldn't be... okay, yeah. Fresh team, best options. Yeah, I'll get onto that in a second. Should I downgrade Ricciardo to upgrade Sargent? I got 0.6 mil in the bank. Yeah, if you dropped Ricciardo down to an Alpine, decent shout, and then brought in Magnussen with the money you've gained, I would say that was decent. Team 3 lineup: Russell, Behrman, Hulk, Mag, Bottas, Red Bull, and Merc. Yeah, that's a decent lineup, not gonna lie. Just be careful with Russell. What do you say? Why do you say you would choose K-Mag over Hulk? Right, so Ricky, basically, in F1 Fantasy, points-wise, qualifying doesn't actually matter that much. Unless you're top 5, qualifying's a bit eh. Well, actually not top 5. I'd say like top 7 is okay. But anywhere beyond that, especially if you're in a car like the Haas that doesn't have as much race pace, you're just going to get swamped by the field and lose more points by getting negative points, getting race overtakes on you. And that's why I always want to steer clear of drivers who have good qualies, because you want to have the drivers who are bad at quali, like Zhou, like Magnussen, and then get it back in the race. You'll see on the point scoring, that's why they score more points. Merc or Ferrari? I'm going for Ferrari still. I just don't have enough faith in Merc. But I generally think I might be changing to the Aston team. I'm gonna do it. No, because then I have to have Zhou. I don't know. Oh, it's gonna be a risk. It's a risk I might have to take though. But we'll figure. We've got plenty of time to think this out. Is it good to get Yuki to be replaced by Gasly and Albon replacing Kevin? I have Mercedes and Ferrari for constructors. Help! Gasly, Albon replacing Kevin. Yeah, I would say that's fine. But if you have Mercedes and Ferraris, I'd focus on the constructors first out of everything. Behrman or Stroll, I'd go Behrman. Just if you've got the extra money, yeah, go for him because he's probably going to get driver of the day points. Thoughts on Red Bull, Aston Martin, Perez, Leclerc, Bottas, Albon, Sargent? Yeah, good team. I just think if you're going for the Aston Martin team, you've really got to have Verstappen because the whole point of having Verstappen over... the point of having Aston Martin is so you can bring in Verstappen and he will get you more points. However, so if you weren't having Verstappen, you'd probably go for a Ferrari team. However, will Ferrari get 3rd and 4th this weekend? I don't think they will. And that's the issue. So how far will Aston Martin be behind? I don't think enough for the Perez to Verstappen jump. Is Max Ricciardo Albon, Bottas, Stroll, Red Bull, and RB okay? Yeah, it's okay, but I would change the Aston Martin. Again, like I've said, Stroll down to a cheaper driver like Magnussen or Bottas and bring in Aston Martin. Best Red Bull Aston Martin team with Max. Yeah, I can show that team as well. So this is the team again. If you brought in Aston Martin, you would have to bring in Verstappen. And then then you'd want to get rid of Zhou. The problem with me is I'd have Zhou as well, which is a bit of an issue. Which I really don't like. However, what you could do is Bottas and then K-Mag. So that would probably be my team. So if I did that, obviously I'm not going to take the -20. I wouldn't get rid of Guan Yu. But yeah, that's probably the best team with Red Bull and Aston combined. Oh, I've already talked about that. So Zhou back in for qualifying. What are you doing? Yeah, that's perfect there. So if Zhou is back in for qualifying, I'd keep Zhou. And also, if he is back in for qualifying, I'd probably take the -10 to go to Red Bull Aston Martin with Verstappen, just to keep everyone out of bay. Verstappen dominating F2 as well, huh? Oh, all right. Oh, okay. You almost got me there, Boris. You almost got me. I fancy swapping Aston for Ferrari this week. Yeah, that's the thing, Harvey, innit? If you do, though, from Red Bull to Ferrari, be prepared to do the -10, which is most likely what I'm going to have to do at the minute. But it's just to protect us against the Red Bull Astons. Anyone who has to take a -10, I feel like. Rick is destroying value and Ferrari most likely too. Yeah, that's the issue. Because we've also got to remember, right, so Ferrari, they might get about 10 to 15 points for pit stops. However, both drivers into Q3, that's at risk at the minute. Qualifying positions, that's at risk. Race positions, that's also at risk. So the more I'm thinking about it, the more I think I'm going to switch to Aston. Let me keep up at Instagram. I need to make sure that I think it'll be easier for me to check on here. Come on, Joe. Please don't do me dirty. So kick Sauber. Please, 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 please. Oh, okay. There's still nothing from them. This is a joke. I'm so scared. Right. What do you think of Red Bull, Ferrari, Perez, Stroll, Tsunoda, Albon, Bot, or Red Bull, Aston? Yeah, so I'm leaning now towards the Max team. Even if Zhou doesn't get back into quali, because then Zhou 0 points. Purely because if we don't bring in Verstappen and Ferrari don't do well, we're screwed. Basically, there's no easy way to put it. We're screwed, and I just don't have faith in Behrman to get top 6, top 8. And yes, he could get driver of the day, but that will only help if you've got him in your team. That doesn't go to the Ferrari constructors. Verstappen, Alonso, Albon, Ricciardo, Gasly, Ferrari, RB, any good? I just would be careful with the constructors, mate, because in F1 Fantasy, constructors are so bongani. They're so useful. Like, look at last week. 89 points Ferrari, they won't go as good this weekend, but 73 points last weekend. And even Perez, only 31 points, obviously 62. Verstappen only got 90 points with 2 times. So you really have to have the best constructors. But this weekend, when Ferrari looked like they could be scoring around what Aston Martin are giving you, then the jump to Verstappen probably is worth it. Zhou -5 isn't too bad. Thinking we get more points than other teams already. The problem is, if you take a -10 to get to the Aston, then we've got a -15. Then we've got a -5 for taking the Zhou. So then we've already got a -15 going into the race. And I don't like that feeling. However, I'm probably still going to do it. I fancy swapping. Yeah, okay, right. Let's do another poll. I think this will be the last poll of the stream. I won't be finishing for another 20 minutes. But Ferrari or Aston? Ferrari. Yeah, I'm thinking of Aston at the minute. Right, let's get that going and go crazy. So Team 1 is no risk. Yeah, Team 1 is like... No, Team 1, I would say, is the risk one at the minute. Keeping Red Bull, Ferrari, Perez. You're risking it a lot thinking that Behrman's gonna do well for Ferrari. Now, the non-risky move genuinely would be to take the -10 because the people closest to us in the leagues are the Red Bull Aston Martin boys or the Red Bull V-Card boys. And they're all going to be using Red Bull Aston this weekend. So if we take the -10, cover them off, we'll still come out ahead of them no matter what because we were still above them on points. And that's what my thinking is at the minute. What if Behrman wins? Yeah, I know. I already said it. He's going to get his first Grand Slam. Sainz is going to get his contract cut early because Behrman was 5 seconds faster than the rest of the field. Will Zhou drive? Yeah, we still don't know. We still don't know Galileo. Also, big up. Big respect to finding the what's it called? The moons of Jupiter. I respect you for that. No, we still don't know though, Galileo. Galilei. Should you use a chip because of the Ferrari on Team 1? No, I still don't. I still think it'd be better taking the -10 over the wild card. And that's purely because we want to be using that later on. Because if McLaren start doing well, we're going to want a wild card to get McLaren boys in. If Mercedes jump over Ferrari, we're going to want to focus our team on that. So there's a lot of things that can happen that we don't really want to waste our wild card on. Should you use a chip because of the Ferrari? Oh, I've already talked about that. Do I only choose one team to play or your 3 teams will play? So your 3 teams do play. However, Team 1's the team entered into the global leagues. If you're in my league, into my league. So it's the main team that matters. That's why I use these ones for experiments. Like earlier on in the stream, I was showing someone that no negative only affects the team that they're looking at. That's why it's applied there. And it doesn't really matter because for me, that Team 3 doesn't matter too much. Suggested changes for Ferrari Red Bull Racing Bulls. Leclerc, Alonso, Stroll. I know it's a... Yeah, mate, honestly, we're all in shambles at the minute, though. But I would say, again, focus on constructors. You'd probably have to take a -10 to get to the Red Bull Astons as well. No, actually, no, if you had... Yeah, you would. Oh, my God, Sainz as well. I didn't see that. Oh, mate. Mate, you're in the mud. I generally don't know if you can save that team for this weekend. If you can, you've actually just got to deal with Ferrari Racing Bulls. We've got issues here. Get rid of Sainz, bring in someone cheaper, and then either upgrade Ferrari to Red Bull if you can. I don't think you can from that, though. But I'd probably say Ferrari, Aston, and get rid of Sainz for someone cheap. Like a Bottas or a Magnussen. I wonder if Sainz coming back before next race. So, Australia is the next race, I believe. And it's the 22nd of April. No, March, I mean. Jesus. So, I think, yeah, Sainz should be back before then, I think. I have the same team as you. Was thinking swapping Ferrari with Aston Martin. What drivers swap should I do? Yeah, so I'm thinking of doing the Aston Martin change. And if we were going to change, it would be, of course... getting rid of Sergio to bring in Maxi Taxi. And then this is where this is where it hurts. You would most likely have to get rid of Ricciardo to bring in Aston, and then you'd bring in Magnussen. And you're just going to have to hope that Zhou either gets 0 points or he takes part in qualifying, which still, again, let me double check. We still have no news on, which is just great. I mean, we're about to find out. I can't see the live stream, but if anyone's watching the actual live stream, if they find out Zhou's racing, then I would say everyone lock in to the Aston Martin team, because then we're cooking. Yeah, mate, I know. Literally engaged. I said it once before as well, and I felt internal cringe just like building up inside. I took it back instantly. Why not consider Mercedes instead of Ferrari? So I've spoken about this, but basically, with Mercedes, Leclerc and Perez look like they're going to be fighting with Verstappen in the podium positions. Now, where does that leave Mercedes? With Alonso, who we know can rustle a few feathers. Russell. Yeah, you see what I did there? That was so bad. So he could get in the way to Mercedes. McLaren apparently been sandbagging, so they could. Bear, I mean, it's unlikely, but he could still get in the way. So I think it's I don't think it's the best to go to Mercedes. Leclerc in qualifying minimum top 3, looking at free practice results, way too much. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's why Ferrari still are a decent shout. But if Behrman doesn't even get into the top 10, then it's an issue. Because then Ferrari lose points. They don't, and then it's sort of like Aston Martin will get more points than Ferrari this weekend. I trust Ollie, so I think that keep Ferrari is the best choice. Yeah, if you trust Ollie, go for it. I haven't seen enough from him. I'm really scared he's going to crash or something. I'm going to risk it all for a chocolate biscuit. Yeah, risk it for a chocolate biscuit, dude. Max, Behrman, Ocon. Ooh, okay, Behrman. Okay. I see you. I like your style. Very, very risky team, but I like it. Right, where have I got up to? Any changes from Verstappen, Albon, Yuki, Aston, VCarb? Yeah, get rid of VCarb. Even Ferrari's better than VCarb at the minute. I have Merc, Ferrari, and Max Verstappen team. So, Verstappen, it's good to have. It's good that you've got him in your team. However, if you have the 2 free transfers, what I would do is realistically do something like this. Aston. And then, where's my boy Alonso? This is what I would do, purely because I think Ferrari's just way too much of a risk at the minute. I'm glad you enjoyed it, SC. You might be the only one who enjoyed that pun. I agree with your assessment. I'd rather take the -10 than we start with Ferrari. Yeah, it's just the safe call, I think, because we know everyone behind us who didn't go for the Perez team last weekend. They're still behind us by like 20 to 30 points. And if we take a -10, we're most likely still going to be ahead of them going into next weekend as well. Why does it do that every time? I'm really afraid some of these budget drivers are going to DNF in the track, so I really consider Chip. Yeah, I've talked about using no negative. If you have Sargent, Stroll. Yeah, Sargent, Stroll. Who was the other one? Behrman. Sargent, Stroll, Behrman. Or Zhou's pushing it. But I think if you got Sargent, Stroll, or Behrman, I'd use no negative because anything could happen with them. Yeah, hang on. Right. Someone help. I have Sainz, Piastri, Albon, Hulk, Alonso. Ooh, lad. See what has happened there? Right. You've got 2 free transfers, okay? Get rid of Sainz off the bat, instantaneously. And then you're going to drop right down to either Sargent or Bottas or anyone who's cheap. And no, No, that's not what you're doing. Never mind. What you are doing is you're upgrading Sainz to Verstappen by getting rid of Piastri, dropping him down to a cheap driver. I have the same team as you, just Bottas instead of Zhou. Can you suggest changes? Mate, you are so lucky, you know. Honestly, if you've got the same team as me, but without Zhou, you could either take the Aston Martin -10, knowing that you've got no worries about Zhou. But you've also got to think, okay, Bottas, not the best option. Let's think. Bottas instead of Zhou. Suggest, I would say Magnussen, if you've got the money. Right. Is Tsunoda better than Gasly? It really depends how, I say, bad he does in qualifying. Because we know that Visa Cash App looks decent. But if Alpine do just as bad as they did last weekend and no one has any DNFs or nothing, then it would be better to have the Alpines. No, Zhou broke the car. Is it still legit? Yeah, so we think so, potentially. I have money to put Stroll in for Ricciardo. Yes, if you've got the money, bring in Stroll over Ricciardo. If we get Behrman at 14 when it's back to Sainz, do we gain? No, we do not, sadly. However, if Behrman does do well, he's going to go up about 0.5 million probably. Without Sainz, the safe bet is Aston Martin. Well, yeah, the safe bet this weekend is Aston Martin, definitely. Tommy, cheers, man. I always respect everyone who appreciates the content, man. Thank you. So, oh, I completely forgot to get rid of the poll. 205. But yeah, again, really close to Aston Martin and Ferrari. But most people, again, 53%, go for SC. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, man. There's so many comments. In order to bring it back and change over for Ferrari and Aston, I have to take -20. Yeah, if you have to take more than a -10 wild card, yeah. SC4 V3, take that wild card. I would say that if you have to do that. Where was team? Someone talked about my team 2 because I wanted to say my team 2 and T3 aren't that serious. They're more for letting you guys see what could happen because team 1's the only real team that really matters. If we switch to Aston, it would be impossible for us to go back to Ferrari once Sainz is back. Yes, that's also the other issue. Well, actually, no. Hang on, no. I mean, it'd be difficult. But right, so if we went to Aston and it worked out this weekend, we would have Verstappen, Aston, and Magnussen. What we've got to hope for is we get good team value changes. So hopefully we'll get a Magnussen going up, a Tsunoda going up, or an Albon going up, and an Aston Martin going up. And hopefully Ferrari have a bad weekend and don't go up, which will mean we could then drop Aston Martin. Hopefully Yuki goes up a bit, and then we can go, okay, let's get back in Ferrari. I mean, it's a lot to ask for, but it could happen. It could. It'd be a risk. I mean, no, hang on. What am I talking about? Scratch that. I forgot I still had Verstappen in this team. So let me go back. So if you had Aston, let me get back to it. Sorry, I screwed up there. If you have Aston, and then you... Yeah, and then you went to Verstappen, and then you went Magnussen and took the -10. What you would do is Verstappen, Aston, and then... Yeah, my bad. What the hell am I doing? And how much would we need? That is the real question. So we would need... No, yeah, we could go straight back. We could go straight back to Ferrari with no issues next weekend, no matter what happens. So I generally think it is the right move. So I'm probably going to be doing that then, because we can go straight back to Ferrari and get our team building again. Limaz. Thanks for talking me through it. Like and subscribe. Hey, Calvin, my guy. Thank you so much for the like and subscribe. It means a lot to me, man. I appreciate all of you in here at the minute. 310 at the minute. We've been constant at 300, man. This is mental. I use the unlimited transfer wildcard. What is the best team for? So I've talked about this quite a lot. So I will go. You would go Verstappen, Perez, Hamilton, Norris, Leclerc with Red Bull and Ferrari. But I'd be careful on this weekend because there's no real good second constructor like that's like pushing. You know what I mean? Like it's not standing out. Like last weekend, Ferrari looked beautiful. This weekend, did they stand out against the crowd? Not really. Help me, please. Yeah, sure. I love how the only way. Honestly, it does help because I see like in full caps help. Because sometimes I do just miss it. All the messages just say help in it. It looks like I'm holding you all hostage. Right, Verstappen, Ricciardo, Stroll, Bottas, Albon, Red Bull, V-Carb. Again, like I've said, get V-Carb to Aston, drop Stroll down to someone cheaper like Magnussen or Bottas. Help me with my dilemma. Magnussen in for Zhou, Bottas or Tsunoda. Tsunoda, oh, so I'm guessing, yeah, so Bottas or Tsunoda. I'd go for Tsunoda over Bottas. Actually, yeah, I would. Lead code, please. Yeah, sorry, I forgot. I haven't done that for a while. So, bim. Bam. Oh. There we go. There's the league codes for all of you good people. I have Verstappen, Hamilton, Tsunoda, Bottas, Albon, Merc, and Red Bull. Okay, you're going to want to get rid of Hamilton. Are you? Oh, mate, that's a bit of a. So if you have two free transfers, you know what, this is what I would do. Keep Verstappen and Hamilton because you know what, I don't think there's much you can do with that in a minute. And drop Tsunoda and Albon down and try to get that money to Aston. If you can't, Eduardo, then message again and then I'll give you another team. Help! Perez, Bottas, Tsunoda, Albon, Ricciardo, Mercedes, Red Bull. Mate, that's a good team. Again, I would still pick Ferrari over Mercedes, but very decent team. Fully agree. Hey, 44 likes. Very nice. Speaking of your team one, why... Oh, Jesus, I've missed it. Why not risk taking why risk not taking... Right, so last weekend, it made sense because Ferrari looked very good as a constructor and it worked out. Red Bull and Ferrari got more points with Perez than Verstappen with V-Carb or Aston. This weekend is a little bit different because Ferrari don't look as good with Bear. So having Aston and Verstappen now looks like the better team. If no budget for Zhou, Hulk and Bottas already have, then I would bring in Sargent if he's the only guy you could bring in. Put faith in Bear. The lad is definitely a star and a very good sticking with Ferrari, no doubts. Good luck, everyone. Yeah, it's just it's scary. It's scary, man. We've got 35 minutes. Hang on, is anyone looking at the F1? Because if they're talking now about if Zhou's going to be taking part in quali, that does change things up. Oh, do I risk just sticking with... Oh, I don't know, man. I keep on changing my mind because I understand how Ferrari could get the points and it'd be the better team. However, if Behrman really does do bad, we're finished. Do I triple captain Yuki? Yeah, Oscar, you're a funny guy. Who did you think you are? Yes, triple captain Yuki Tsunoda. Help. I got Latifi in place looking for me. Mate, honestly, pro tip, because this happened to me last year with Latifi. He never leaves me alone. If you hide under the bed and stay hidden from him, all you've got to do is you've got to get a tub of Nutella because, you know, he does love that Nutella. And doesn't he own like Nescafe or something? Give him a coffee, give him a bit of Nutella, and he should leave you alone and give you enough time to run away from him. Right, let me get back to the F1 fantasy. I've not got enough time to be faffing about. Yeah, I know. And my heart's saying Bear. My heart is saying Bear. But I've really got to hope Aston stink it up now. Yeah, it is. God damn it. This is why I love F1 Fantasy, though. Because it's the beauty of the sport, and they're just making it so good. Right, sorry, I missed quite a few there. I'm going to start from Lisa and then go back down. So I can't decide on this week's second constructor. In the past 2 hours, I have gone from Ferrari, Mercedes, to Aston, and now I think I'm going back to Ferrari. Yeah, so you're not alone. But I would go for Ferrari at the minute. This is my first week of fantasy, so I have unlimited transfer. Help me with a good team. If it's your first week, get that Red Bull Aston team in, because I don't think the Red Bull Ferrari... I think the Red Bull Ferrari team is just too risky, and the only reason that people like me are going for it is because we've already got it set up. Alone and Afraid. Is that your team name? Max, Yuki, Albon, Joe, Ricciardo, Ferrari, Mercedes. I'm terrified of Mercedes, Ferrari. Mate, honestly, it's scarier. It's the scariest thing I can think of in the world at the minute. Right, let's see. Again, I would say try to get Red Bull in that team. But if you can't, I would stick with it purely because you got Verstappen, and that's the best you can do for now, I think. Yeah, innit? SC4v3, that's the only way, man. I think go Max might not be most points, but not risky. Yeah, Max is the safe bet, but if anyone wants to risk it for a chocolate biscuit and go for the big prizes, then you might have to go for the Perez team again. What do you think of Red Bull, Merc, Perez, Stroll, Magnussen, Zhou? Right, I'm going to get through these messages quickly. What do you think of Red Bull, Merc, Perez, Stroll, Magnussen? Yeah, it's decent. It's decent. I would still prefer Ferrari over Mercedes. I think I'm going to go for it. Behrman, you better not let me down. I'm just so scared of taking that -10. Well, technically -5, -15 if I keep Zhou in that team. But yeah, that's a good team. Help. Right, so any news on Zhou yet? So I can't see the TV at the minute because if I put on the TV, I think the sound will come through. And I don't think I'm allowed to put the sound, even the sound, on stream. So hang on, let's have a look at Twitter. I can't see Twitter here. Right, let's have a look at Twitter here. Oh, also, thank you everyone who joined my Twitter. This is my Twitter, by the way. This is all of the ones I talk about. Let's see if we've got news on Zhou. Let's see if he's posted about it himself, because we've not got much time yet left, so he's not been talking about it, and I can't see. Is anyone watching the actual race? Are you changing to Aston if Zhou starts in quali? Probably not anymore. I think I'm sticking to Ferrari now. I think I'm going to risk it. Hope that Bear can just get top 8. Because... Help. Is this what our stream's going to become? Literally, everyone just screaming help. Like, you're like, you can't escape. Yeah, okay. Morris, can you keep me updated to see if Zhou is on qualifying or not? Why not Bottas instead of Zhou? Well, yeah, cheers, Morris. Spencer, I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, man. I know I'm holding you hostage. I'm sorry. Should I go with... Should I go with Red Bull Merc or Red Bull Ferrari? I would stick with Red Bull Ferrari. Perez or Leclerc. I would still go with Perez just because that Red Bull looks so good here. Although Leclerc could still do pretty well. Help, my team is Max, Perez, Albon, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, Merc, and Red Bull. Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's good. It's good. All right, stop. I'm trying to read the messages, and all I'm getting is the help from everyone. Max, Perez, Albon, Hulkenberg. I'm losing my train of thought, man. Wait, let me get a sip of my drink, man. All right. Max, Perez, Albon, Hulkenberg, Tsunoda, Merc, RB. Yes, that is a good team. I would stick with that. What about Max, Zhou, Yuki, Oliver, Alex, Ferrari, Aston? Just be careful, because Ferrari, again, we're risking it just because we've got Red Bull as well, though. That's the thing. Otherwise, it's scary not having Red Bull. Verstappen, Ricciardo, Yuki, Albon, Bottas, Merc, Ferrari. Again, try to get in Red Bull if you can, but if you can't, because I don't think your team can do the -10, then stick with Verstappen and then stick with Merc and Ferrari, because they'll probably still do better than Aston. Red Bull, Aston, yeah, they're still the best sort of geezers to go for. Oh my god. Help, help, help. Limehouse. SOS, bro. We've got a new thing in the chat. Okay. Should I continue the GOAT Latifi in my team? So basically, if you guys didn't know in F1 Fantasy, Latifi actually is this godlike option that you put in this code right here. You put in this code to the Zach F1 League, and when you join it, you get Latifi, and he gets you 100 points every weekend. That's not me just saying it. It's literally in the game. I promise. Bro, I can see your message SC4v3 at the bottom of what I'm trying to get to. So if you had to keep Ferrari, what would you do? I'm going to keep them. Right, I'll quickly do this then. If you're keeping Ferrari, I would get rid of Ricciardo and Zhou for now, because we don't know what Zhou's doing, and bring in Bottas and Stroll, which I'll probably be doing in the next few minutes. Help, my last race team was Perez, Danny, Yuki, Albon, Red Bull, Ferrari. What should I change? I think you should realistically keep that team, apart from Danny up to Danny, get rid of Ricciardo and get Stroll. So potentially move Bottas to a Sergeant if you don't got enough team. Help, my team is Verstappen, Perez, Leclerc, Senna, Lauda. What do I do? Right, so apparently now we got the Ghost. Okay. SC, mate. What is this? Unironically, that would be a very good team, though. Help. My last team was Perez. Oh, I've talked about that. What about Perez, Bear, Yuki, Ricciardo, Alex, Ferrari, Mercedes? Yeah, that's a good team. Although I just think if you're not having Red Bull, you need Verstappen, because Verstappen's going to get 45 points this weekend, potentially even 55 if Behrman doesn't get Driver of the Day. Help, Oscar, mate. What are you talking about? Stop playing help. Stop playing help. Oh god, man. How can we expect Behrman to perform at a street circuit? It's 50-50. He's either going to get top 10 or crash. That's my prediction. My last, yeah, talked about that. Right, there was sorry, misunderstood. I haven't used my limitless card. I've used the wild card. Oh, right, yes. So if you've got your wild card ready, I would go to the Red Bull Aston team with Verstappen, and then fill in your team with the likes of Bottas, Stroll, Magnussen, and Gasly, I'd say. Oh my word. If I double up only one change, then can roll over extra change for next race. Yes, then you'll have 3 changes for next race. Going fresh this race, help. Okay. Fresh, I would say, like I've been saying, Red Bull, Aston, Verstappen. My bad. I had a little bit of a cough there. And then 4 cheap drivers, Bottas, Magnussen, Gasly potentially, and then Tsunoda. Help, I'm getting a new dog and need names. Well, clearly, you've got to call him. What should we call Tyler's dog's name? This is top-notch F1 Fantasy content. That's all I'm saying. But, yeah, Tyler, your dog is going to be called... you know what? It's actually a really good name. Actually, call your dog Toto. Toto. Isn't that like Toto and like Tin, whatever, the old books? Because also Toto... No. It's Toto from... What's it called? The Wizard of Oz? Is that a dog's name? But Toto is a good dog's name. You should name it Toto. How much do you recommend no negative chip? Only if you're using... I'd take Stroll off of it. Only if you're using Behrman or Zhou would I use a no negative. What was the best team in your option? Realistically, the best team I think is Red Bull, Aston Martin with Verstappen. However... I don't think it's worth switching over from Red Bull Ferrari, taking a -10, keeping Stroll, making it a -15. to then risk changing that team. That's why I'm doing this. Magnussen for Zhou. If Zhou can't drive in quali, yes, definitely. If we want to keep Ferrari in Team 1, what would you do both cases with Zhou and no quali? If you want to keep Ferrari, then it's simply just this. You bring in Stroll. And you bring in Bottas. That's what I would do. Dog name V-Carb. No, you gotta call it officially Visa Cash App Racing Bulls. Not just V-Carb, the whole full name. Yeah, I'm thinking of Tintin, yeah. And yeah, but I'm thinking of the dog from Wizard of Oz, yeah. Would you keep Zhou? No, I think Morris is on the case. If you have a look in the chat for Morris, if we get any updates on if Zhou's going to be driving. Because if Zhou is driving, no, I'll still be getting rid of him. But bro, locking in 20 minutes. I know. I'm pushing it here. I'm giving it 8 more minutes. Purely because I think within 8 more minutes, we'll know if Zhou's not racing. And if Zhou's still not had any news on him, I think it's just too late. Only talking about Behrman right now. God damn it. Bro, my team, what about Hulk for live as what? Yeah, everyone bringing the Undertaker to your F1 fantasy teams. Ollie Watkins as well, yeah. Oscar, Ollie Watkins, yeah. Triple captain Ollie Watkins this weekend. I will say though, Solanke, everyone bring him into your fantasy Premier Leagues. If you've got it. Help, Max Leclerc, Albon, Sonoda, Ferrari, RB. Again, Aston. No, V-Carb to Aston. That's what you've got to get going. They're talking about Ollie. Yeah, damn it. Good luck for quali, guys. Have a great one. The replacement driver is not on the fantasy. He is fresh. Trust me, he is. Behrman's right there at 14 million. That's why it's a bit of like, oh, do we go for him? It's a difficult one. Oh, are they talking about him? My team was Max, Danny, Yuki. Has the music stopped? No, it has not. Don't think he's gonna drive. Oh, okay. I'm sticking with Ferrari then. It'll be really close. I'm not risking it. Okay, everyone, I am locking in. You can see me lock in right now. Pray. May the F1 gods please help us right now, F1 gods. I'm going for it, boys. And it's locked in. We've gone for it. Is Gasly good? Yeah, Gasly's good because Alpine don't qualify well, and if anyone has a bad race, they get overtake points for that. For overtaking them. Latest news, he's not driving. Yeah, I think then if you guys have got Red Bull and Ferrari, it's just too much of a risk to go to Aston. If you've already got a Red Bull Aston, though, you jammy bastards. Hopefully, we still keep ahead of you. Do we get negative points if Zhou does not drive? Yeah, if he doesn't go for qualifying, he gets a -5. That's why I think on top of me getting a -10 to go to Red Bull to Aston with Verstappen, it's just not worth risking a -15 this early on in the season. Please feedback. You know what? That's better than just screaming help, which is what everyone's been doing. I mean, I did love it. Verstappen, Sonoda, Albon, Zhou, Hulkenberg, Red Bull, Aston Martin. Bottin for Zhou and Magnussen in for Hulk. Yes. Cooley, sorry for the pronunciation. Go for that. That is a very, very smart move. Bottas in for Zhou and Magnussen in for Hulkenberg. I will say, everyone, get your lock-ins now because we don't know how iffy it will be before qualifying. I've got your team too, but you said about having Stroll with Verstappen, Red Bull, Aston Martin, but it goes over the limits when you add Stroll. Yeah, so some people have different team values. So if you can't afford it, then you might just have to not choose Stroll and pick like a Alpine, like a Gasly or an Ocon. Change Ferrari to Aston and change Hamilton to Alonso. I just think if you've already got if you've got Ferrari, I think Ferrari and Hamilton's still the better option than Aston and Alonso. Because even if Alonso does well in quali, he's going to end up like P6, P7. He'll just lose more points. Yeah, why not Mag instead of Bottas? For me, it's just because I can't afford him. But I would choose Magnussen if you could. And I think Stroll will get more points than going up from Bottas to Magnussen. Help. Verstappen, Stroll, Ricciardo. Albon, Bottas, Red Bull, Visa, yeah, or Perez. I would choose the Verstappen team. Verstappen, if you have a chance to bring in Verstappen, you bring in Verstappen. It's only if you've got the Red Bull Ferrari team. Okay, my team was Max, Danny, Yuki, Zhou, Albon, Ferrari, Merc. What do you recommend? Zhou for Gasly. Yeah, get rid of Zhou right now. But I would still say Stroll and Bottas are better than one of the Alpines. Help is best Magnussen and Zhou with -20. No, if you need to take a -20, you wildcard. I know it's not the best option, but you probably need to wildcard. Also, give me a second. It's getting really dark. It still gets really dark early here, so I needed a bit of light. Help, I have Verstappen, Yuki, Ricciardo, Albon, Mercedes, Ferrari. Should I swap to Red Bull, Aston and swap Rick? It would be a -10. Yeah, I'd say if you've got Mercedes, Ferrari, do the -10. If you've got Red Bull, Ferrari, don't do the -10. Because also you do not have Zhou, so that's fine. Anyway, yeah. Then, Cooley, I think I talked about your team. Yeah, so I would recommend doing that, Cooley, everything you said. My team was Max. Have I already done these? That's why. Help, Leclerc, Behrman, Albon, Red Bull. No, VCarb, Ferrari. Just be careful of VCarb. I'd take Aston over VCarb any day of the week. All things equal, Gasly, Yuki, or Magnussen. Perez, Stroll, K-Mag, Albon, Bottas, Red Bull, and Ferrari. How is... oh my god, there's so many. Daniel or Yuki. What is the situation with Zhou? So far, it looks like he's not racing. That's why I've locked it in. Daniel or Yuki. Yuki, because you'd probably get more money for getting rid of Daniel and bringing in like a Stroll or someone. Help, I got Verstappen, Russell, Tsunoda, Bottas, Stroll, Williams, Ferrari. Connor, mate, you got to get rid of Williams. You got to have a decent... Even VCarb would be better than having Williams. But try get that Williams up to an Aston and dropping someone down to get that. Daniel or Yuki? Yuki, Christian. Because you want to... you want to have... What's it called? You want to have Stroll or someone better in your team. Logan or Magnussen? Magnussen. Sorry, just joined. No problem, M-Pike. It's been very hectic, this one. And we're going right to the deadline, so be careful. SOS. Perez, Stroll, Mercedes or Ferrari? Ferrari. Perez, Stroll, Tsunoda, Albon, Bottas. Red Bull, Aston Martin. Opinion, please. Yeah, I would stick with that then. If you haven't used your 2 free transfers, then I would get rid of... No, because you can't bring in Verstappen with enough money. So I would just stick with your team. And I would probably get rid of Albon for one of the Alpines or Magnussen. Because again, Albon does too well in qualifying and then normally drops back a bit. Help, please. Magnussen and Tsunoda. Yeah, so if you've got Magnussen and Tsunoda and you need a -20, you wildcard. If you can't take a -10 or less, you wildcard. Help. No, I've already done that one. Get rid of VCarb and Rick for Hulk and Mahaston. Yes, but if you're bringing in 6.2 million driver, I would bring in Bottas over Hulk. So Bottas and Aston. Is Zhou missing the whole race or just the quali? Just the quali, realistically. But the issue is, normally I would be praising him getting 20th in quali. However, he then needs to come like 16th to even just break even. And then after that, he'd probably max get like 5-6 points, which just isn't enough. Thank you. No problem, Christian. No problem. Zhou not driving. Yeah, it's really annoying, but that's why I haven't risked going to Red Bull Aston. Red Bull, Aston, Albon, Yuki, K-Mag, Bottas. Yeah, that's very good. That is the team I'd like to have, but I can't at the minute because I went with Red Bull Ferrari last weekend, and that did work out last weekend. However, This weekend is a bit more of an issue. However, we've just got to risk it and hope Behrman does what he does. But yeah, I would get rid of... Who would I get rid of there? If you had any changes, I would probably drop Albon and Yuki. If you could drop Albon and Yuki to get Stroll, but I don't think you can with that amount of money. I'd say stick with what you've got there. Where did I saw something? Oh my god, yeah, there's so many messages coming in. I'm so sorry if I don't get to your messages before the 5 p.m. drop off. Help pass over Williams, yes. But even not as a constructor, mate. For constructors, you want to be at least, and I don't like VCarb anymore, but you have to have minimum Aston Martin as the second constructor. Should I go with -10 or no negative chip with Zhou? I would take the no negative over the -10. Well, actually, Morris, it depends. What would the rest of your team look like? Is this to bring in Red Bull and Aston? Because if it's to bring in Red Bull and Aston, then I would probably say... I'd probably say risk it and go for the -10. Would you swap Ferrari, Mercedes and Verstappen to Red Bull, Perez and Leclerc? No, I think Verstappen for now would be fine over Red Bull, Perez and Leclerc, because I think your other team would have to be VCarb, and then you're having issues with VCarb. Logan or Magnussen, Logan or Hulkenberg. Help me, please. Magnussen and Tsunoda with -20. Yeah, Boa, so if you're taking a -20, you need to be wildcarding, because it's just not worth it not wildcarding. And then if you can take a -10, it's better, but it's still a bit risky. Williams or VCarb. VCarb over Williams. However, both of them I would not recommend. I'd recommend minimum. The 4 constructors I'd recommend are Aston, Mercedes, Ferrari, and Red Bull. Anything to change? Red Bull, Ferrari, Perez, Albon, Magnussen, Ricciardo, Tsunoda. No, I think you're fine. That's a decent team. We're just going to have to risk it with the Ferrari moves. Ricciardo, Gasly, or Ocon. Depends how bad Alpine are. But I would, if you're not changing anyone else, then I'd stick with Ricciardo. Ocon or Gasly. Gasly purely because Gasly has more of a chance to go up now, I think, in points because he dropped last weekend. Shit. Sorry, Gus. That is my bad. Right, I'm so sorry, everyone. I'm gonna end the live stream here so I can help out on the Discord. I know there's so many more messages to get through. I'm so sorry, but final thoughts to talk about. Red Bull and Ferrari, go for if you have Zhou as well. If you don't have Zhou, take the -10 to get to Red Bull Aston Martin. And if you have Red Bull VCarb, go to Red Bull Aston Martin with Verstappen. And if you already have Red Bull Aston Martin Verstappen, stick with that. Thank you all so much for watching. I appreciate you all for joining with me for the last 2.5 hours. Yeah, I'm sorry I can't get to the rest of you guys, but honestly, let's have a great time of qualifying. I love you all so much, and it means a lot to me. I mean, we've still got 250 people already now. But yeah. I'll see you all later for another F1 video. I'll be going live after the race, to, doing a post look on how well our F1 fantasy teams did. But yeah, I'll see you all later. Have a good qualifying day. Bye-bye.